if I were to be honest, I had a lot of questions for God. I said, I've given myself to you. I've done everything that you asked me to do. I was so angry. And I said, what has it mattered if in the end, when I really call on you and really need you, you won't show up?
So, Sean.
Yes. Did I tell you how fabulous you look, Damon?
No.
But did I tell you how glad I am to see you?
You said it, and then I was concerned about the camera rolling.
So let me
to
tell you.
capture it.
Let me tell
and
you.
I stopped you.
I want this captured, okay?
Okay.
But then again, they could turn the cameras off because it's coming from my heart.
I got you.
I'm really glad to see you.
Thank you, Sean.
I want to say welcome back.
Thank you, Sean.
But I need to tell you this too.
Okay.
We missed you.
I feel like, okay.
No, I mean, let me speak for me. We had some of the most fun on your watch, some of the most creative things that you all are doing around the world, some of the biggest opportunities to intentionally practice peace. Are you kidding me? This is the movement. What Mother is doing is definitely the movement, but on your watch specifically, we did some things that helped change the world. And I know it because people still ask me about those things. And it was during your tenure.
Well, Sean, I'd love to dive in. I'm going to ask you questions about you and things I have no idea. But let's start right there because that's how we first met.
That's how we connected.
And, but I'm especially intrigued to know in reality, like how you see it showing up. And let me just preface it. We have a lot of members around the country, a lot of young people, a lot of people that work hard. It's hard work to campaign for something that makes a loud bang or a big voice, and you know better than me. And sometimes when you're in the local community, you wonder, well, what impact will this have beyond any given event? See, sometimes we fail to hear the stories. I hear a lot from Curtis, but yeah, I mean, I'm not asking you just to keep massaging the same point, but in reality, what did the Peace Starts With Me movement and the people that we were working with and bringing together, how did you see that fitting into culture in America today and in the realms in which you're working, where you see it showing up?
So you use an interesting word. You said, how did you? It's not how
do you?
Did I? It's how do I?
How do you?
Yeah. It was a consciousness, first of all, that was necessary for people to have a reason to believe that peace begins with me, is the movement. We had, to a certain degree, no reason to even believe that. No reason to believe that we should not buy into the matriculation of every day, that we shouldn't respond the same way that people respond in life. There's no reason why I shouldn't fight you the same way that you fight me. There's no reason why I shouldn't be selfish and take it first. I don't have a reason. I don't have a suggestion. There's no antidote that sort of inclines me to believe that there's another way. So the consciousness of an organization saying it begins with me and investing into that thought to go into communities like we've done in Los Angeles and so many places where it is the talk of the street. It is broadcast. Do you remember Los Angeles specifically? For blocks and blocks and blocks, there were banners for weeks saying, it's coming, it's coming. And it came.
Yeah.
And you have a reason to say, who, me?
Yeah.
And the events say, yes, you. We're all here for you. And there was not a person that we targeted or demographic of a person, a age, a category, a sex, a nationality, even a religion that we went after to say peace belongs with me, that couldn't stand and join on that agenda and go, it does, and I'm glad to be a part. And so now it resonates. The peace proclamations that you made are like sound. You make them,
they reverberate.
And you don't hear it anymore.
I see.
But it's still going, and it's still going, and it's still going. And when people say to me, what happened to this? When a person can singularly ask me about events like peace begins with me, which is what made me say it, with all of the things that I do events around the world.
You're involved in a lot of things.
I didn't say country. Around the world. With some of the biggest names sometimes in the world. I've done a lot, from television to radio, just my own personality. I was a singer, just a lot of stuff, right? And when people can look at me and identify this one small portion of time of something that I did that is likened to other things. I've sold out Radio City Music Hall, been to Wembley, like all of these things. And they ask about that. You know that reverb is alive and active. Here's the responsibility and the charge.
Yeah.
It has to be fed.
Yeah.
It's a cosmic demand that the world doesn't know what to ask for in words, but the heart and the need of the land cries for peace. And there's no one who's taking responsibility. And then we have an organization that says, peace, it begins with me. And it gives everybody an equal place.
At the table.
At the table. It makes them valid. It gives them a reason. They are sanctioned. They are crowned. You are it. It begins with you. And the same peace that I have is the same peace that you have, and the same peace that you have, and you have. And you could be the president of this great organization, or you could be a follower off the street. It's equal peace. And it equally is both of our responsibility.
Equal responsibility too, yeah.
I fear that people, as they should in business, have to answer numbers, and they have to answer, protocol, and did it meet this strategy? And there is always a politic-ish, well, this person said we should do this one said we should do this. So it comes down to who won and whose agenda, right? And so all of that is somehow what always feeds into people at the top of the food chain. But meanwhile, what this whole thing is about is boots on the ground. It's about people understanding that peace begins with me, and the hearts that are changed, the hearts that are tenderized, and they are ripe. They're ripe for the picking after this. I'm just a real guy. When it works for me, I'm real. When it doesn't work for me, I'm still the same real guy. Right. Yeah. And so when things hit me, and when they are meaningful to me, I'm a communicator.
You acknowledge that.
Yeah. And I want people to know what they do. It's not just another function. It's not random. I do a lot of those. I do big functions. You go in and it accomplishes what it set out to do. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. You sold the number of tickets. You did all of those things. And you walk and go, you go next. Right. It's my world. And I love it. I would never, it's my world. But it's a different thing when I have to twiddle on my fingers and go, what was that? That was a part of something that was not just a job. It wasn't just an event. It was life-changing. And then here's a sad reality that I live in. I work in the faith-based community primarily.
Yep.
I know there is no derivative. I know I'm not going to go to another organization and go, hey, let's follow up with what they did. There's no place for it because it's one of the most unselfish acts that exists in our land today. It's really about peace. Everything else has an agenda.
I see.
Now, I'm not saying that, other outlets are not concerned with peace, but this focus is peace beginning with me. And most other outlets have an agenda that focuses on something that will bring them immediate reciprocity, that they can get something from. This seems like a very selfish agenda, selfless agenda that says, no, we just want you to know that it begins with you. And if you do that, if you do this, everything else will come. It's this, what comes from the heart is received in the heart. So there's no secondary or tertiary agenda. It's just like, how did you treat me? That's all I can go on right now, because this is all I know. And what you get back is, this is what you think of me? These flags and these dances and these colors and these banners and those artists and these speakers and this venue and these people, this is what you think of me? Thank you.
It's interesting. I think for us, what we see from within the movement, and especially coming from Asia, Mother Moon is a woman who is, by all accounts, like both from my personal testimony and everyone around her, this is a woman who is thinking of 8 billion people, right? She's really thinking about all of us, regardless of, and how to bring about a peaceful world and not just plant some seeds, but like, she's 81 and her prayer is, I want to see it in my lifetime. Now, how many of us can even believe that things could settle down in one country, let alone globally? This is what she's living for, and sleeping less than 2-3 hours a night because she can't. She's and so yet from the history of the movement, and also to some degree, really the culture in Asia, there's a tendency to focus on the centrality of her being, which is important. But what we were trying to do, I think, with the American expression of this was focus equally or more so on the purpose of her being. So the fruits of the dream with that she's dreaming, and what is the outcome of the prayer she's praying. And I got to say, just so you know, it was risky at the beginning because we were doing some things, some new ways. The heart and the culture is all the same, but how we express it. And I do feel like just that's the role that America can play for the world. Whatever dream is popping up in whichever part of the garden, it's like when it comes to the American marketplace, when it comes to the American heart, and it can be expressed in a way the world can receive, then it's something that can expand. And so it's great to hear. It's great to hear that it's meaningful in the hearts of those who participated, because I think you're likening something to like measuring results in a certain kind of way, but it's really, I don't know how much Mother hears about the repercussions and the echoes. I don't know.
Here's something that I would like you to take into account. The culture that we live in now are new ears.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Yeah.
new ears.
Yeah.
They're new ears. And they won't hear old voices.
Right.
Old voices has nothing to do with the chronological age.
Right.
They won't hear what used to be.
Yep.
And old ears can't speak with a new voice. That's it. So when you know that you're the new voice, see, I don't know. You know that she spends 2 to 3 hours a night sleeping because she's focused with this. It's a new voice. The same peace begins with me. That's a new voice. And new ears want to hear a new voice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the charge of the universe for you. I mean, it's clear to me now, like hearing what you're saying, it's clear to me. That's the charge from the universe for you, to let these new ears hear a new voice, because the old voice, the new ears ain't trying to hear. It didn't call for peace. The old voice didn't do that. The old voice called for institutions made unto men.
Yeah.
I told you I get myself in trouble easily.
Yeah.
But I tell the truth.
So there's a spirit working with this that's going beyond those controlling systems.
100%. And it was ordained to be.
Yeah.
It was, okay. I'm a scripture guy.
Oh.
I knew you before you were even formed in your mother's womb. I knew you. Because I know what I created. I know the thoughts that I have concerning you, plans to prosper you and give you an expected end. I had this thing up here in my God mind. I created this purpose over here. I gave this purpose a promise that is irrevocable. It won't die, and it cannot be killed. But if you mistreat me, I will be unfulfilled purpose. if you don't lose sleep over me at night, if you don't activate and take action to what I'm giving you and I'm purpose, I'll be unfulfilled. But my promise to you is as long as you pursue me, I won't die. I won't die on you. I don't care what happens, I won't die. And I don't care what they say about you. I don't care what they do to you. I can't be killed. You have to focus on one thing, making sure I'm fulfilled. Purpose and promise. I knew you before you were formed. So he puts that inside of mother before she's formed. Then we think we were created, right?
Yep.
We weren't. We were here. Let me show you how.
Mm-hmm.
He scooped up dirt that was already here, blew into it the breath of life, and then we became. So that dirt was already here. What's going to happen when we die? We're going back to the dirt. It's going to live. Fame! I'm going to live forever. I'm going to learn how to fly high. That's it. It is eternal. It is eternal. It's going to last forever. It's not meant to be understood. It's not meant to be agreed with. It's not meant to be voted on. It isn't. It is. It's because she is the mother of peace that your responsibilities become to fulfill the peace that you were given inside of your promise that goes with her promise. We're one body, fitly joined. Each member supplies. I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job. I'm just saying
I think
the peace movement was effective. That's what I'm just trying to say. Y'all, it was one of the most effective, revolutionary things. I'm really just trying to, we went off on a whole tangent, I'm sorry. What I was really trying to say is, Damon, I'm really happy to see you back. It is not that we didn't do anything else when you weren't here. It's not that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying it wasn't the same. I said it. I mean it. And I'm really glad to see you, and I'm really glad to have you back. And I feel like somehow that you must have been somewhere advocating, working hard, fighting against the grain, pushing your way through in order to make happen some of the things that happened on your watch. And I am saying that the world is a better place, and I'm not blowing smoke, but it's a better place today because you are back and because I know that I can count on you to continue to be that champion of peace that we need in the world.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
And I mean it.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean.
I mean it.
I guess we can end the meeting right there then.
No, I want to talk about me. Me. No.
I got.
This episode of the Peace Starts With Me podcast is brought to you by our merch store. Check it out at peacestartswithme.com/collections. We have apparel and accessories for the whole family, including backpacks, pins, aprons, shirts, baby onesies and bibs, and more. Show your support and go to peacestartswithme.com/collections.
So, Sean,
yes.
It's really refreshing and kind of like unexpected to hear. It's not about the personal commentary as much as that's great. It's like to hear people in the community at large respond objectively in ways that perhaps the old ears aren't used to. That may be why you will wonder if word's even getting back up the chain, because it's like it's music that we're not used to hearing. And so just for that, thank you. Really thank you. And thanks to all those that keep the echo going. So for you, like the first time we sit down, we were running during campaign season, but you're always busy. You're always on the move, world renowned. One of the questions I got to ask you is, being so fulfilled or fulfilling so much purpose in your own life, in your own work, you're also a promoter of others. And to do so, you got to throw yourself into that 100%. What's that like for you to be in your own right, somebody worthy of recognition, worthy of promotion, and yet still throwing your all your weight behind promoting others at the same time? What's that like for you?
Such a good question. I have never ever until now considered myself. I just didn't. There were people who trusted me to do something for them. You can trust me. If you give me something to do, if you have an expectation from me, if you think that this dream that you have, that these hands are capable of achieving it, and you trust it to me, it's getting done. And so I've lived my life working on behalf of other people. And if I would be completely honest, I have lived also being unfulfilled. Because as much as I could do for other people, I was always excited to see them get there. I never had, a when is my turn moment, any of that. But there was something else intrinsically in me that I felt was not being answered. I felt it's so much more that I would say if I had that same opportunity, or if I had that platform, or I'll say this. Let's go back to what we're talking about with the peace movement. I don't understand why some artists just didn't demand, I must talk to Mother. I have to talk to her. I've been here 4 or 5 times. I got to talk. She needs to know what's going on. That would be me, right?
I see.
But I haven't had those opportunities. Most recently, I have started to ponder after I had a birthday, of which the person shall remain nameless.
Someone else's birthday.
No, my birthday.
Oh.
But during this birthday, there's a very good friend that I have that gave me a fabulous birthday party in their home. They shall remain nameless. I wouldn't call his name if you asked me to. Even if he was sitting right there, I wouldn't. And I had this birthday. It was my 55th birthday.
Okay.
And,
happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. And I really started to say, so God, I'm not young anymore, but I feel young. Yeah. I was like, but I just want to make sure that I'm doing all of this stuff that you want me to do, and that I almost gave him permission to take time and think about it. And the answer was resounding and quick. No, you're doing none of the stuff that I told you to do. But Father, I have done this, and we've done this, and it's all been for you and for your glory. And he said, it's great. And I gave you the ability to be this, and all of that has had you operating here. And it's been fabulous for all of them. You got them all there. You never missed. But I called you to be this. Your consciousness, your awareness is greater than this. I said, but they're great. Everybody knows their name, and they're popular, and they're famous, and they're wealthy. He said, and I'm God. I created you to be this. You've been operating doing this, and you have become pleased with the applause of man. And I am sitting here patiently, not disappointed, but I'm waiting for you to realize what I've put inside of you. When will you become what I ordained to be in the beginning?
Wow.
Because you can do more work, greater work than these shall you do.
So this is coming up for you now.
It is here.
Right now.
It is. On my 52nd birthday, I just finished reading a book, The 48 Laws of Power. Do any of you know what that book is?
I know of it. I didn't read it. I know of
So
it.
it's a book that is very controversial. Yeah. It's a lot of people use it as a leadership book.
Yeah.
A lot of rappers and other people have taken it as a place of like a leadership book, and just how to get to be on top, the Jay-Z's, and yes, I call names, like these people, right? And not these people in an external way, but people of that nature that have this kind of influence. And when I read it, it had some simple things in it that were like behead the master and other things that absolutely I refuse to digest. It's not peaceful.
No.
That's not peace.
Doesn't
so I refused to digest it, but it was relatable. And it made me think as though the truth was being potentially perverted. It had some powerful antidotes that could work, that could be inspirational or aspirational, but it came with some other things that were betrayal and manipulation and other things that just were not profitable for me as a human.
This was your 52, you're reading this book.
52nd birthday. No, this is, well,
I had read it.
On your birthday. I had read it.
You had read
on my 52nd birthday, I woke up, I sat in the bed, and I go to 48 Laws of Power. Whose power? Whose power? No. Here's how you're successful. I was always taught, put God first and do the right thing. That's what's going to make you successful. I was taught that nothing beats a failure but a try. You got to go try it. I don't care how many times you try it and how many times you fall. It's impossible to fail if you try. There is no failure when you try. You may not get the goal yet, but trying eliminates failure. Failure is not attempting to do it. I was taught all of these principles. Great. So I started to write these things. It's in the book. I started to write all of these things, right? And when I get finished, I have 52 things that I'm reading. And I read it and I go, oh, wow, how coincidental is that? It's my 52nd birthday and I wrote 52 things. See. That's crazy. And I left it.
I thought it was 50. We're talking about Sean's new book here.
Yes, 52 Laws of Success.
52 laws of
success. Laws. Don't tell me about 48 Laws of Power. It's only one that's powerful.
Yeah.
These are 52 laws of success. Follow these laws and you will be successful. People don't know how to measure success. Is it in how much you can gather and harvest in terms of things? Is it in raising a family? Is it in how much wealth you have? Is it in influence? Is it in how much chaos you can create? Is it how popular you become, be it good or be it bad? What is success? And so I answered those questions. And then I started to really hear what I was just telling you about God. I really started to hear around this time, I've given it to you. I went back to those 52, which wasn't laws of success things, just those 52 principles that I decided I was going to adopt these and not let these 48 laws of power even get into my psyche. I wanted to be prepared to talk to other people that even seemed like they were functioning in that area, to have other things to strategically talk to them differently about, to weigh in against this thing that they were buying into. Because ultimately, they were buying into evil. I said it and I meant it. And so I did these 52 things, and then they became my 52 laws of success, and they were just these things. And I realized that these things, like nothing beats a failure but a try, put God first and do the right thing. Those things were things that I knew what they meant. I knew what they meant, but everyone else may not know what they mean. So I decided to do just a paragraph to go with each one of them if someone needed to know what it was.
An explanation.
Well, when I read the paragraph, in a very non-arrogant way, I started to say, this is good. Like, whoa, this is really digestible. I get it. And then I said, what you can't do is entice someone with this thought and leave it to them to defend the thought, because then it becomes subject to their interpretation of the thought. You can't do that. You have to explain it. And those explanations that came from the paragraph, which came from the principle, became chapters.
So you have 52 chapters.
There are 52 chapters. And then I realized that there are 52 weeks.
52 weeks.
In a year.
Yeah.
If you really study the word sabbatical, it was 1 year in the Bible. And so I want people to take a sabbatical from mundane and ordinary. The scripture says we're in the world, but not of the world, right? So be on your job, be a husband, be, a businessman, be everything that you're supposed to be. Be in it, but not of it. For 1 year while you're on sabbatical and you're learning the power of you becoming successful in your own divine right. It is learning how to cancel the noise, how to become a distraction destroyer. Distraction destroyer. Most of the things that happen around us are distractions that keep us from, I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb. They're all distractions, people, places, things. The book talks about when life happens, you know what you do? Happen back. It's going to happen. Life is going to happen. As a child, every child is taught this, and we're talking about peace, but every child is taught this. If somebody hits you, what do you do?
They say hit them back.
That's what we're taught. So if life happens, happen back.
Happen back.
You don't get a chance, life, to tell me that because this unwarranted, unmerited event took place, you get a chance to destroy my existence. No, you don't. What I will do is confront to you with what it looks like after that happens and you still see me succeed. That's what you're going to be confronted with. Now, you just got yourself into trouble because now I'm going to show you what it is that everybody else buckles under. I'm going to show you what it is, not only to survive, but to thrive it. I'm going to show you how powerless you are. That is what the 52 Laws of Success is. And I'm hoping people take a sabbatical from what they think they know, from what they have experienced. And they will be in the world, but not of the world. They will be entrenched in these 52 laws of success, finding out how to be successful in their own right. God never, ever creates or does anything for no purpose. There's not a person on the face of the earth, including every homeless person that's walking outside in New York City, that does not have a purpose. Go back to what I said. I won't die. I can't be killed. But if you misuse me, I will be unfulfilled. And so there are so many people whose lives are unfulfilled that are not living inside of their creation because they have not yet had the opportunity to learn that they can be successful.
So this is interesting, Sean, because like we're starting with the question of your life's work so excellently pursuing the promotion of others. And then with the question of how you're stepping into your own, I mean, your answers explained to me, you're stepping into your own purpose at a higher level. And the thrust of this is coming through this work, this book, but what's interesting is that the book itself and the purpose of this book, this is like at the moment, like a crowning jewel of your ministry in a sense, I feel, right?
Yes.
But it's still about the promotion of others in this sense, to the people who would pick it up. It's the promotion of their purpose. And it's just interesting to me that.
Did you remember what I said? I said, I don't think about me that often.
Even in your.
For God so loved the world,
Yeah.
He gave. I have something to give.
Yeah.
When He did this,
yeah,
it's hard for me to say now, at the risk of even remotely sounding arrogant, but the world can give me nothing. God gives it to me. And so I have something to give the world, which is Him, with a new voice.
Right.
For new ears.
Yeah.
And so even the scripture says, take no thoughts for these things. If I do this for the fish in the sea and the birds in the air, what more wouldn't I do for you? I'm a person, I love me a lot. I love me a lot. But I love what's in me more than I love me. And I'm just publishing the book now. I asked my wife of 32 years to become my manager. And I'm a manager, right? That's what I do. She said, I can't do that. And I said, yes, you can. She said, what would I do? I said, everything you see me do for everyone else.
Wow.
And you know what she said? I got it.
I love that.
She said, I got it.
I love
because
that.
she's the person who's prayed for me, who's worried, who's been mad for me when people didn't do me right. And why are you going back there again? She's her. Do everything for me.
That's
she
great.
saw me do for other people.
That's great. Great that you could ask for that.
So I was going to start telling this story, but from a different perspective. I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. It's right over the bridge. I lived on the 13th floor. And my apartment faced east. So I could see all of New York City from the 13th floor. The truth is, downstairs, I could hear what was happening in our alley. It's a place called Georgia King Village. I'm so proud of being a product of Georgia King Village. It's a tough place, though. And I could hear the addicts that were shooting heroin in the alley downstairs. I could hear them just as plain as day. I've seen a person get hit by a car twice. And it was always someone who was running to the liquor store. There were 2 liquor stores across the street from each other, right in front of where I live. But I watched television. The Jeffersons were moving on up, and they were right in New York City. And Barney Miller was right in New York City. And Carol Burnett talked about Bergdorf Goodman, which was right in New York City, and about Terry Mugler, whose gowns she was wearing. I knew nothing about this, and I had a dichotomy of a reality. Here was really what was happening. What I'm watching on my TV right here is right there. It's literally right there. So I had to choose what was really reality. All of them were tangible. If I only wanted to watch TV and focus just on TV, that's what it would be. If I wanted to be like or succumb to what was happening down there, that's what would be it. If I wanted to go over to New York City and explore all of these things that I was hearing and seeing and figure out how tangible they could become, I could. My mother was a single mother, and she always taught us, wherever you go, you'll always be the best person there. You'll never be better than anybody, ever. But you'll always be the best. She said, if you happen to find yourself not being the best, just know you're not doing enough. When? Always. Where? Anywhere. Why? That's the way you were designed. Somebody has to be the best. It's you. Really? Absolutely. But you'll never be better than anybody. Well, how can I be the best and not be better? You're the best simply because you are. That is your role. Someone has to be at the top, someone has to be at the bottom, but everybody is equal. Your role is to be at the top and be responsible for anyone who is next to you or below you. What about those that are above me? If they're above you, you're not doing something correctly. You'll always be the best. That is intrinsically what was planted inside of me from a child. I believed it. But imagine the wisdom that this woman had to have to tell you, you'll never be better than anybody. So you can't go around thinking you're arrogant. Give you a sense of responsibility to everyone, but always know that you had a place and a right to be at the top of the heap. Now, did she really think that I was always going to be the best everywhere? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know, but maybe. But do I always strive to be there? I do. And do sometimes I fall short? I do. But it's kind of like shooting for the moon. If you go for the moon and you just wind up among the stars, you're probably still in pretty good company.
This episode of the Peace Starts With Me podcast is brought to you by our merch store. Check it out at peacestartswithme.com/collections. We have apparel and accessories for the whole family, including backpacks, pins, aprons, shirts, baby onesies and bibs, and more. Show your support and go to peacestartswithme.com/collections.
And it is that woman who you see throughout this book, inside of these principles, who had these laws that all of her children lived by. We had these laws laced with our imagination, laced with our ability, that caused all of this stuff to happen.
So a lot of the wisdom in the book comes from Mom?
100% comes from my mother. Coming over here is so serendipitous that we're talking about this. A friend of mine called and said, what do you think about this thing that Southwest has done with seats? They're giving
Southwest
Airlines. They're giving overweight people an extra seat now.
Oh, yeah?
That's what a friend of mine called me and said. And so she said, what do you think about it? And I said, it depends on what perspective you're asking me the question. And I said, first, let me say this. There's a misnomer that when people are overweight, it's because they don't eat right. They're not this, they're not that. It's as big as a disability as anything else. My mom died trying not to be obese.
Trying not to be.
Yes. I had gastric bypass surgery. I used to be 100 pounds heavier. My wife had gastric bypass surgery a year after having, gastric bypass surgery. My mom went to the same hospital, the same doctor, had the same procedure. And she died 3 days later.
Oh, no.
She died begging me not to let anything happen to her.
I'm sorry.
Don't be.
When was this? How long ago?
2005.
Oh.
Don't be sorry. I have learned some of the hardest lessons ever in life, but I have learned some of the best lessons in life. And one of the lessons that I have learned in life and from her death now, Curtis will tell you if he would talk to you offline on a very personal note, I was gone. I built the largest faith-based agency in the world, and I threw it away.
At that time?
Yes.
What was that? What was the name of it?
Flipside Entertainment Agency.
Okay.
I still have the agency, but I had 19 artists. 12 or 13 of those artists were in the top 40 of the gospel charts on Billboard. You essentially could not do anything in gospel music without
Flipside.
my agency. Yeah.
So what did that teach you?
At that time, it didn't teach me anything. If I were to be honest, I had a lot of questions for God. I said, I've given myself to you. I've done everything that you asked me to do. And I was so angry. And I said, what has it mattered if in the end, when I really call on you and really need you, you won't show up? I've had so many opportunities to do so many other things. I stayed focused on the kingdom. I tried to do what you said. And this, and she's trying to be better. So, insurance denied my mom 6 times from having gastric bypass surgery. 2005, we had the open surgery. Now it's like laparoscopic. So they cut you from here to here. They did a whole reroute of your intestines. Very invasive, very dangerous.
Deal.
People, very, very dangerous. Insurance denied her 6 times. They made her go to the gym. She's 5'4".
You got to get below a certain, you got to show, right? Certain weight.
She's 5'4", 350 pounds. Your BMI, your body mass index has to be at a certain thing. You have to lose a certain amount of weight. So they made her go to the gym. Things that were absolutely humiliating for the 62-year-old woman. She did them all because she was desperate. She was desperate to be better and to be out of that body. And they denied her 6 times. One of the things that's in my book. She said, no is nothing more than an opportunity for someone to tell you yes. So no never meant no. It still doesn't mean no to me.
Wow.
So I paid $24,000 for her surgery. Insurance wouldn't do it. They told her no. It's an opportunity for someone else to tell you yes. So I told her yes. She died. So I was riddled with guilt.
Yeah.
I feel like I paid to kill my mom. And she was literally me and my wife's best friend. That's the crazy thing.
Oh, man.
She's my best friend. She's my wife's best friend. 10 years after my mother was dead, when I finally started to come back around, my wife said to me, I got to tell you something. I've been worried about you for 10 years.
About this thing.
She said, but it's my turn to grieve. I lost my best friend.
Oh.
She's my mother-in-law. She's your mother. She's my best friend. I lost my best friend. Do you know what it is to lose a best friend? I said, yes, I lost her. She said, no, she's your mother. And I have a mother who's my best friend in the rights of a mother. But she was my best friend. I'm so angry with God. I'm so angry with God. I'm driving through the tunnel and I'm a mess. I would call Curtis. I cursed God. I told him he was a punk. You said if you curse you, you'll die. I'm cursing you. Why ain't I dead? You don't even deliver on your word. I don't know if I believe nothing about you. I'm driving through the tunnel. I would call Curtis, literally. Curtis and Hezekiah Walker. And I had no words. I would cry on the phone. 30 minutes. And I said, okay, bye. I was heartbroken. And I was heartbroken also, not just because of my mother, but because I paid for it. I wanted her to have to experience this new thing that I experienced through weight loss. I was just getting primed to do all the stuff that I knew could get her, to the life that she wanted. It was working. And it's just like, why do you have to die? I'm driving through the tunnel. It's 10 years later. And I cannot, I just can't shake it. And just as audible as I'm talking to you, I hear these words. I did not punish you. I rewarded her. What? Now I can hear it in my head, what I heard in my ears, but I want to hear it again in my ears. I said, what? Say it again. Say it again. And I called him a bad word. I wanted to antagonize God. Just say it again. Because I heard you. And I'm hearing you here. He didn't say it again, but I heard him here. And I knew it was supposed to be that way. She had gotten a reward. She had gotten a chance to escape this thing we call life. And she had done her job. I was here. And I know that sounds real something. I was here. I was here. She gave me the tools. She raised me. She was given the responsibility of what God knew before I was formed in my mother's womb. And it gave me a hunger and a thirst to be everything that God needed me to be. But I couldn't become this that I am evolving into without feeling the loss and the debt that I have to everything that I've been given because she isn't here. So there's this tremendous amount of responsibility that is so welcomed. And it's interesting that I was able to shed a tear today because I can't cry when I talk about my mom anymore because I'm actually happy in the weirdest way. I'm really happy that she gets the promise. I'm happy that she was the person that got to usher me in. She was the portal by which I came. I'm excited at the work that I am supposed to do. And most of all, I am trusting God. I haven't done this for a long time because I can't figure out. This is what's crazy. If a person comes to me and says, hey, I want to do this. This guy does it all the time. He says, I want to do this. Let's go do this, right? It could be something I've never done before and I can do it. I haven't been able to figure out how do I get my book to the masses? How do I become a public speaker? How do I really infiltrate this system where everybody is trying to become, right? People want to become an author, become a speaker. I don't want to become any of that. I am.
Right.
I am.
Right.
I just want to take it far. I want to take it wide. I want to be of impact.
Right.
The same reason that mother can't sleep thinking about peace, I can't sleep thinking about transformation and empowerment.
And your mother's connected to this.
1 million trillion gazillion %. But what had me stagnated for so long is I can't figure out how to do it. I can't come up with a strategy. I'm the guy that comes up with a strategy. And finally, it hits me. You don't have to come up with a strategy. All you have to do is be. You keep going.
Right.
And it'll be what I say it is. This whole thing today, I can't even explain it. To get a chance to release to the world with you all, the children of peace, for who I am from the Father of peace, the creator, the originator of peace, and to find my existence fitting in where it should be, not where it should be. It's astonishing to me. And it lets me know that I'm moving as God would have it in the right direction, and that it's going to be impactful and meaningful, and that there is a purpose, and that there are new ears who are listening to a new voice. And it wasn't for naught. It all makes sense. It's coming together, and no longer is it a canvas. It's now a picture.
Nice. So as you sit here and we're just getting rolling with this thing, what do you think? What words of wisdom can you give to this, or what encouragement, or what do you see that's possible here?
The thing that is possible is impossible. So whatever you can imagine is impossible, dig deep and go, it's impossible. That can't happen. That's exactly what's possible. Not only is it possible, it's plausible. It is probably the exact thing that's intended to happen at this very time on your watch.
You look excited.
Oh, I'm so excited about the impossibilities of what's possible.
Impossibilities are more exciting than likelies.
Correct. And the thing is, we are operating in the impossible. This woman is saying we've got to have peace for 8 billion people on the earth. That seems impossible.
That's what Mother wants.
It's totally possible. And look, wait a minute, wait. And I'm sitting at the residence of impossible. You're the president, buddy.
Yeah.
Anybody got a mirror? Bring me a mirror. I want you to look yourself in the mirror. I want you to really understand you're the president of impossible.
President of impossible. Something, by the way, Sean, that you're sharing about your chapter in life is similar for me.
Huh?
Yeah. We'll get to it another time. But I'm just throwing that out there because
I love that.
There is something about kind of what I'm hearing you share is also, it's acclaiming your, divine, unique role, claiming your victory, claiming the victory of who you are. And as much as we want to be there for others, and that's even embedded in the DNA of the work we're doing, we have to show up with what 100%. We've been given to bring. 100%. So, yeah, Mother believes that peace is inevitable, even though it seems impossible. We're rolling with this platform. We're putting together this platform. After 3 years, there's been a lot of contraction. There's been a lot of being careful. There's been a lot of, even watching what we spend in both practical means. But we're trying to create a platform, and it occurs to me that meeting with people such as yourself and asking, how God works in your life and how God is working in your life today, and how you make peace a part of your life. One of the questions we want to ask everyone is something like, in any given situation where you can feel peace is absent, how do you see it starting with you? What experience do you have kicking it off from you and where you stand?
That's a really good question. Well, when I show up,
it's going to happen.
Guess what shows up? Peace. Why? Because I understand something. Peace begins with me. I have to show up.
So you're not going looking for it.
I have it. I am peace. I am peace. You are peace. You are peace. You're peace. You have to choose whether you choose to be chaos, which never really works because it's not the intent and it's not the design. That's why it's disruptive. But the thing that brings calm and brings peace is peace. And it has to start with me. So everyone else can have every other reaction or action. Mine must be with the mind of peace. my response is more powerful than the initiating action. The power of the initiating action is really my response.
So you put out the energy, but you actually maintain the equilibrium.
You know, it's really weird. I'm a knee-jerk guy. I'm a rah-rah guy. I'm instant to react. Yeah, that's me, like right away, right? Until that's my comfort zone.
Okay.
Right?
So you like to activate.
Mm-hmm. But
if there's sparks
confronted, right? When confronted with the opportunity to be who I am peace. When confronted with that opportunity, I always present it. And it's just like, it is such a startling contrast to my real existence that it makes people go, huh? Yeah, we're fine.
Well, Sean.
Damian.
My man.
Damian.
So how long are you in town for?
Yep.
I see.
Going straight to the airport.
Dang. Thank you so much for coming in.
Hey, this was amazing. I was, if this makes any sense, I feel found.
Wow.
So I did this book.
Yeah.
Got a publisher.
Yeah.
I got the cover of the book. Dr. Jamal Bryant did the foreword, which is so eloquent, so befitting of which my friend told me that. I had someone else doing it before. He said, oh, ask Jamal. I forget sometimes. Sometimes I forget my friends that are my friends, right? And then what they can do and how they are. And so now I feel, this makes me feel very found. I feel like there's a purpose to it and I get a chance to say it. This is really real. There's really a connection. And if you could connect with one, you can connect with a million.
Yeah.
You just, you need a system, you need a cycle, you need people that can help you. You need people that will feel what you feel and go, here's what we can do to be a part of that. The same way that I feel like I say, here's what I can do to be a part of peace begins with me. And I feel like, as I'm looking around, we're all different. We're looking around the room, we're all different, but I feel like we're one body and we're what it looks like, one body fitly joined. It's not all the same thing, not all from the same place. Don't all do the same things, but it's all the same thing at one time. So I'm really grateful. Thank you all for my cry today. That felt really cathartic. So thank y'all. Let's get back to it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Peace starts with me. All the same. And we're all the best. Put it there.
Appreciate it. There we go. Fantastic.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you.
God
I appreciate
you.
it. Thank you, sir. God bless you as well.